Hello, and welcome to my Succession Wizard Skill Choice Halfguide. So anyways, I'm going to pretty much be going over for people with lower skill points, what skills you need and where you will need them. And when I say where you will need them, what I mean is, let's say if you're grinding Histria, the skills you need are going to be different than if you're grinding Poly. And if you're grinding Poly, it'll be different than if you're 1v1ing. So I will start with Preawakening. Don't worry about this one. Don't worry about the Succession or the Preawakening. Concentrated Magic Arrow. The most use of it is BM killing people. I don't like saying get rid of Dagger Stab because it's so cool, but yeah, get rid of Dagger Stab. Magical Evasion in 1v1 in small scale PvP, where you're using your dodge a lot to keep distance, is very important. PvE, it's really not all that important. The difference is 250 versus 150, I think. Yep, stamina. Now, Magic Shield. Oh, and if I skip over one, that means you definitely need it. Like Teleport, you definitely need it. So Magical Shield. Magical Shield it's important for PvP. For PvE, less so, unless you're doing really high end. Now, mana absorption is actually quite important for our Succession, as we have a lot of mana consumption issues. However, the first rank should suffice for returning enough mana when you need it. Resurrection. Don't worry about this because you're a Succession Wizard and you don't need teammates because you can kill everyone your own. Your own, I mean on yourself. Wait, I mean on your own, by yourself, there we go. So Lightning Chain, and depending on what role you like in PvP, it can be nice, especially in group PvP for like mass disrupting. And the higher rank you get, the more things it hits. Like this one hits 10, this one only hits 3. And in high-end PvE, it can be quite important for pulling. However, the first or second rank should suffice. So yeah. Just rank this up as much as you need to based on what you're doing. Now, Lightning Storm, this one is required for Succession. Lightning Storm varies in importance depending on what you're doing. So if I say you can unlearn it for Succession, that also means you can unlearn it for Preawakening. Lightning, you really want at least the first rank of Lightning in Succession, as you do a fast cast instead of the Preawakening slow cast. And the Lightning is what lets you transition into the other Lightning skills. And you don't want to hotbar them, as that does not allow cancelling, which is a nice thing for Residual. So anyways, yep, so that. Where was I? Oh yeah, Residual. Absolutely important for pretty much everything you're going to do for Succession, so you need it. Freeze is simply a nice to have in PvP. It's good for ranged pressure, but we have plenty of that. It's not going to hurt you that much to lose freeze in any area of PvP or PvE, so yeah, just a nice to have. You really don't need it. Now, Frigid Fog is good for AoE damage at high-end grinding, less important low-end, and for 1v1 in small group PvP, it is of the highest level of importance. Because with your Frigid Fog, that's almost immediate if you cancel it, at least. Protected, or partially protected, there is a gap. CC Hit Trader. So yep, whatever you do in PvP, do not go without Frigid Fog. Blizzard, large scale PvP, it's going to be very important. 1v1, it's at best a nice to have. PvE, don't worry about it. The damage is very puny. compared to your other things. Speed spell, absolute necessity. Earthquake, you can go without it, but I really wouldn't want to. I mean, in low-end grinding, I guess you could, because it has a long cooldown compared to other things. However, PvP, the movement one, is absolutely necessary. In a high-end PvE, it's quite important too. So it's not quite as important as a skill like, let's say, Residual Lightning. Or for PvP, for PvP, it's about as important as Frigid Fog. Your movement helps you so much. Okay, yeah, Earthquake is very important. PvP, high-end PvE, medium very important, medium high importance, and low-end PvE, medium to medium low importance. Protected area, large group PvP and small group PvP, very important. 1v1, just have a rank 1 because you'll use it and people will think it's the 8-second one and run away for 8 seconds, and you can still heal and do all of your other buffs. Earth's Response. PvP, it's probably the last skill I'd be willing to give up. PvE low end, I wouldn't worry about it. High end, it's very important. Because, here, I'll give you an example. The perfect example. So you see, after I gather all these things up, I use Earth's Response for positioning to do my back attack damage. Like that. But don't mess up the back attack damage at first like I did. So you have high-end PvE important, PvP important, low-end PvE really not that important. The heals, they're good to have no matter what. Spellbound Heart, you want it no matter what. For the move speed, as well as the mana return. Magic Lighthouse, high-end PvE very important, low-end PvE not important, PvP not important. Passive, you definitely need it. Infinite Mastery, if you really want to be stingy with points and you're doing low-end PvE, you get quite a few points back. I don't want to recommend this, but if you're not worrying about dying to people or to Mabu at hard spots like Kestria, then yeah, you can get rid of it, but definitely learn it for any kind of PvP you do. The only time you ever want to get rid of it is if you're like, oh, I'm a level 60 brand new wizard who quested to level 60 and I only have like 1 skill point. That's the only time you want to get rid of this. Skilled Hundreds are nice to have for PvE, and it doesn't cost that many points, I don't think. It's a nice to have for PvE. It won't be the end of the world to lose 15 AP or only take a couple ranks, but you know. I'll call it a nice to have. Now into our succession. Okay, I guess I'll still go one by one. Well, you need this to learn succession, so definitely learn this. Oh, I actually didn't know the name until I looked at it. So this is a much worse ebuff than our Awakening one. It's still pretty important and nice to have for PvP. For high-end PvE, you definitely want it. For low-end, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The accuracy isn't that important, the AP isn't that important, the DP isn't that important, the casting speed, you can get that from other sources, and most of your stuff has 100% crit. So save 10 points if you want to be stingies. Definitely want the passives. Definitely want this passives. Now multi-arrow. Multi-arrow is... So for PvP in 1v1, like a common scenario is I get a fireball into a fireball explosion which does a knockdown. I can't do my lightning into residual as the residual does bound. So you need filler skills that will do adequate damage and won't re-CC them. So a lot of times that'll come from things like knockdown, filler with multi-arrow into a second knockdown, and then I can do my lightning. You never want to knockdown and then bound because the bound is small compared to the knockdown. You want to follow up a knockdown with another knockdown if you can. So yep, multi-arrow is really nice to have for 1v1 and I guess kinda nice for small scale. Large scale, not as important. And for PvE, low end, not all that important. It can still find uses though. Medium end, moderately important. High end, very important. In fact, the higher end you get, the more important it is. Like for example, here I mostly use it to finish off packs, but at Sakraya, I use it several times in my sustained damage combo. Fireball, you can get away with rank 1 of these things and save quite a few points, a whole lot of points actually. Fireball Explosion, it's very much a central skill to a lot of what you do, so you'll definitely want it. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. For 1v1, this one is an absolute necessity. Knockdowns are extremely strong. For high-end PvE, it's very necessary. For low-end PvE, it's a nice to have, I'll just say that. Not super important, but definitely a nice to have. The Fireball Explosion, I mean. So if you want for low-end PvE, you can just go with rank 1 or so. Meteor Pvp, it's a must-have. This one for combo potential, this one for CCs, and for both of them for protection. So in PvE, due to the long cooldown, how many points does it take? Quite a few points. In low-end PvE, I would actually say go without it, just because it is a nice big AoE skill, but it's a very long cooldown. So you're not going to make use of it the way you will of things like your awakening abilities. PvP, you really don't want to go without it. Earth Arrow, yeah, you can get rid of it. In fact, I could even get completely rid of it and I never would have noticed. I wonder if they'll ever do anything with it. Lightning, you can get away with rank 1. You don't want to unlearn it, I think I mentioned this before, because you do the slow lightning. And you don't want that, you want the fast lightning. So rank 1 will suffice and you save quite a few points. Now, Residual Lightning, you really don't want to do without this in either PvE or PvP. It's a huge part of your damage in PvP, well, and in PvE. Watch this. Look how much my residual does. The last part was Lightning Storm, but the blanket of lightning was residual. I just wanted to go on, to be honest. It feels weird not grinding. Did I say Lightning Storm yet? I forgot. Okay, sorry if you're hearing it again. No, I didn't say it yet. High-end grinding, it's an absolute must. PvP, it's an absolute must. Medium end grinding and low end grinding, it's a nice to have. Not essential, but definitely a nice to have. Earthquake, high end grinding, medium high importance, low to medium end grinding. It's a nice AoE. Actually, this one will be pretty spot specific. So this one acts as a, first of all, I'll say in PvP, you never go without it no matter what. I think I mentioned that earlier. PvE, if you're grinding a spell like Manchelms or Akhman, where a vacuum is important, it's absolutely a must. If you're grinding some lower end spots where it's nice, it's of moderate importance. It has a pretty long cooldown, so you won't use it that much, and you can save a decent number of points, so I'll just leave that one up to you. So much of it will be based on the spot that you're at, though. Earth's Response, PvP, you can never go without it. High-end PvE can never go without it. Low-end PvE, you can definitely go without it. Medium-end, probably go without it. In your PvE, if you have to reposition before you finish killing things, like repositioning to get back attacks, then it's important. But in low end PvE, where you just kind of potato on things and kill them, and then move on, and kill them more, and then move on and kill another pack, then you don't worry about it. Freeze. Like I said about the Preawakening one, it's nice to have in 1v1. Other than that, really don't worry about it. You could even just... Well, the Preawakening one is a very slow-moving projectile compared to the Succession one. But yeah, it's really not all that important. It's simply a nice to have. Doesn't matter at all in PvE, unless you're a witch, then it matters more because it lets you do a quick skill into your multi-arrows. 1v1, it's a nice to have. Large scale, it's barely a nice to have. Blizzard, you absolutely need this for group PvP, especially big scale like No War and Siege. Then you want this one, not the upper one. This upper one, neither of them are that important PvE. They do nice damage, however compared to the damage that your Succession combos do, it really doesn't do that much. So don't worry about it for PvE. For 1v1, it's a nice to have, but nothing more. So you can save points if you really want, because that saves a ton from Preawakening. So if you're short on points, definitely. Frigid Fog. High-end PvE, it's good supplemental damage. PvP, it's an absolute must. Low-end PvE, it has a longer cooldown than your other things. And I'm not going to talk about this one since low-end PvE tends to get frozen. This one is really nice, and I'd probably prioritize it over some other things for low-end PvE where your AoE really is important. But yeah, it's medium-high importance for low-end PvE. Now these ones, PvP and PvE, low, medium, and high-end, they are incredibly important no matter what you do. Never ever ever neglect to learn these. Now which one you'll take, I guess this isn't really the point of the guide, but I'll talk a little bit about that, because it's probably for new wizards, or some of the people who want it are new wizards. So actually I'll talk about PvP first. PvP, you really just want voltaic pulse. The down smash is nice, however, number 1, CC, number 2, protection, number 3, evasion debuff, number 4, casting speed bonus 10%, and you don't even need to hit things to get it. So it's nice when your speed spell's down. You really don't want anything other than this for PvP. Now for PvP, which one of these you choose will depend on a variety of factors. Let's say I'm against a Awakened Witch or Wizard, and I need protection from the slow with a lingering front guard. It lingers for a little while. I'll probably take this. Let's say I'm against a grab class where I absolutely can't let them be close to me for a while. I'll probably take this. Let's say I'm against a Succession Ranger and I'm really tired of being knocked down from longer range than my abilities. I'll probably take this. Let's say I'm against a Musa or a Mewa or a Sork or a DK. Or especially a Musa or a Mewa, I'm going to say. Where they don't have a grab, and as soon as they force your double teleport, they're probably pressuring you a lot. You don't want to sit in super armor trades a lot, however, as a last resort, it is very nice to have that as an option, so I'd probably take this. So yeah, that one really depends on the circumstances. Now for PvE, this one takes longer to cast, but has a AoE all around you. It's especially nice at lower end for killing things, and it does a little bit more damage than Equilibrium Break. I personally, for high-end PvE, use Voltaic Pulse and Equilibrium Break, as Voltaic Pulse puts a very fast evasion debuff on them, and Equilibrium Break does almost as much damage as this, actually. if you consider that you'll probably have an add-on on you. A critical add-on, because that's what's important for it. So yeah, this one, for PvE, it's really your personal preference, to be honest. This one's also nice as it only has a 5-second cooldown. Now for low-end PvE, I may actually take Bullseye, because not only does it do more damage, but like everything's nice about it for low-end PvE, like everything. So I don't know, for low-end PvE I'd probably take the exact opposite of what I take. Like imagine, you're going to a pack of potatoes, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna kill them. They're dead. I'll go to another pack, and I'll kill them. And I'll go to another pack, and I'll kill them. I wish I could kill Hystria like that. That would be pretty nice. So yeah, imagine it kind of like that. What other skills? Oh, this feels weird to have my other skills. What other skills are left to talk about? Did I talk about Earthquake? Yeah, I did. I mentioned PvP and... okay, no matter what, don't not learn these. Whichever ones you want, definitely learn them. But whatever you do, never have this. Always have some combination or permutation of that. So yep, I hope it was helpful, and goodbye.